I know why. Ta-da! Now you'll see us. Hello, folks.
Did you forget to press live?
I forgot to press live. Ah! Jeez. And it looked so damn good, man. I forgot to press live. I'm done. Hi, folks. You're late. Yes, I'm late. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to press live, folks. I apologize. I'm like, what is wrong with this? And, well, anyway. It happens. What can I say? Oh, dear. Dear. I'll tell you. God, what a mess. It's one of those days today, folks. Oh God, I think it's all that paint I've been sniffing up painting for the last little while. Okay, wait, what's wrong, Amy? You said the audio is something? What?
I don't know.
I don't know. She goes, whoa, what is with the audio?
I don't know. You sound fine to me. Do I sound fine to you?
You sound fine to me, Mike.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Is the audio glitching? Oh my God. What does it sound like on YouTube, Mike? Can you hear us fine?
Yeah. I don't think my son has speakers hooked up.
Okay, that is really weird. I don't know what's going on. It shouldn't be happening.
Amy says it's like you say something twice.
It's like I say something twice. Hello, hello.
Kay says we seem okay now.
Amy, go out of it and come back into it and see what you think. Sorry, guys, if there's any issues with this. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm just going to go on YouTube and check. Give me a second, guys. Sorry about hey glitches. It happens, right? It just happens. What can we tell you? Hang on. Yeah. Okay. I am live now. Does it sound like I'm talking? Hang on a second. Hello. Okay. I am live now. Does it sound like I'm talking? Hang on a second. Hello. Okay. Does it sound like I'm talking? Oh yeah, I am talking twice. What the hell is going? Oh yeah, I am talking twice. What the hell is going? Okay, guys, listen. You know what I'm gonna do? I might have to go down and cancel this mic and come back.
No.
No. Okay, are we still talking double or what? Somebody please let me know if we're still talking double here. I mean, Kay says I sound fine, but I don't know. Am I still talking double here?
No, Kay and Amy said we sound fine now.
Okay, so we're good. Double Dutch. Am I talking double again, Amy or Mike or Kay? Holy crap!
Hello. Can you hear me? Me. Daryl.
Well, now I'm hearing doubles right across the board. Why is there two of you? No. No, you are good. Okay, thank you. We're good. Okay, Kay says we're good. I'm going to go with that. All right, folks. Sorry for the delay. We will run a little bit over time tonight. That's given. We just get these glitches every once in a while, and we have no idea as to why. So, if anybody else is having an issue, I have a tissue around here somewhere. No.
Nice.
All good. Okay. So, I guess this puts us as the first show of 2023.
Wow. It is.
It is.
That's scary.
It is, isn't it? Wow. We got a whole year to look forward to come up with shows every Friday. Oh, this is going to be challenging.
Okay, yeah, that's a good cue for everyone to send ideas. We need 52 ideas. Come on, people.
52 ideas. There we go. Holy jeez. Well, I think tonight you came up with a really good one tonight. And actually, the more I thought about it, I think it's a really good start to the year. I mean, some people know a lot about this and some people don't. So you came up with the idea.
I did. And my idea, as I bring it on my screen, that's not beer. No, which way? That way.
That way.
I don't know. On my screen, you're on I'm on. Anyways, I haven't been drinking or doing anything.
No, but those glasses for your glasses picks for your New Year's, they were just classic.
Yes, and my son has a whiteboard now that he got for Christmas. So
is that a ghost sticking out its tongue? It is. It is. Or it looks like a pirate.
So we're going to talk about types of hauntings and some examples that we've encountered.
And there's an example right behind him on the board.
This is bullshit. And if there's any investigators that believe that this is a real ghost, you might want to find a new hobby.
Well, why does the tongue keep going in and out? No, just kidding.
All right.
Okay, types of hauntings. Well, all right. I'm just going to throw this at you then.
Okay.
Everybody, the classic white sheet haunting cases. Eating dinner and watching Hello Thespians. Thespian and Ken.
Mr. Thespian and Mr. Thespian.
Type of haunting, like when somebody refers to a haunting, somebody says, "Hey, they phone us or they phone some paranormal group and they say, hey, I've got a haunting happening." Like that encompasses a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you got us like what exactly do you think is haunting you, right? Because from our perspective, it could be anything.
So, what is the true definition of a haunting then?
Well, no, okay, you didn't make me Google that.
Yeah. Well, I'm way ahead of you then because I've got it.
Oh, well.
But I can wait. Did you Google it, Mike?
Okay, class, listen up. This is a haunting. I can't even spell it. Can you see that? Probably not.
No.
Good. It basically says, Daryl, piss off. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, guys, the haunting's all yours. I'll see you later.
All right, Mr. Smarty Pants, what is a haunting?
All right, so the definition of what I read, okay, not what we determined, but what I read. It's something that's right in your face. It's something that it's right at you all the time. It's poignant. Oh my God. It's potent. It's right in your face. It's You can't ignore it. It's difficult to get away from it. You'll never forget it. It's like everything that you could possibly think of that you've ever seen on TV seems to be right in that context of a haunting. I mean, I don't think we've ever actually. I mean, have we ever actually run into something that would say, "Hey, this is a true haunting"? By definition, I don't think so.
Well, like I've always told you, what my holy grail, like the thing I always want to see as an investigator, is a ghost standing there saying, "I'm a ghost." Right? That's one thing I want. It's never going to happen in my perspective, but if that was the case, then I'd be like, okay, you're the real deal. You're a ghost. You're obviously one of the types of hauntings. We've encountered things now because there's so many perspectives on it. Some are skeptics, some are not skeptics. To have everyone come under one encompassing what is a haunting, have you ever experienced a haunting? There's going to be part of the team, part of our team, or part of the public out there that will be like, yeah, I believe in a haunting. I've seen a haunting. I've had experience of a haunting. There's going to be other people like, no, it's all about a bunch of crap. It's not real. And you guys are just imagining things. So, I don't think you're ever going to find anybody that's truly going to. I don't have any proof, definitive proof, 100% proof.
Okay, well, from what I see, okay, yeah, okay, I can see that. I mean, from what I see though, everybody, like when somebody says to me, somebody phones up and says, "Hey, MPI, we've got our house is haunted," and a lot of times we go in and we're looking for the classic signs of that. We're looking for taps turning on and off by themselves. We're looking for the footsteps. We're looking for the apparitions. We're looking for the people running in fear from their home. We're looking for,
Yes.
you know, all of that encompasses it, whether it's taps, knocks, bangs, thumps, you know, the classic running up and down the hall. Hell, I get that every day at home, and it's nothing to do with ghosts.
You made me snort.
You know, it's the screams, the yelling, the ooh, you know, why don't you go to blah 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 bleep blah bleep blah bleep blah bleep blah bleep. You know, it encompasses all of that stuff, and we have to come in and say, well, you know what, you're not really, most of the time, you're not really haunted. But then, you know, people say, well, what am I? Well, what are you? What do we tell them? When we say, hey, you're not really haunted, you are.
You're experiencing something that cannot be explained. I mean, we try to explain it, and we sometimes do find an explanation, but is it an explanation they want to hear? I don't know. That's another whole story, but.
Well, it's like, okay, so Holly said, I've seen a full figured entity not 8 feet from me. Okay. Not ethereal, solid, appearing form in the light of day. That, although that's still an apparition, is it part of a full-fledged haunting? You know, as Kay said, it's an adjective.
Yeah, the adjective is remaining in the consciousness, not quickly forgotten, like
Yes.
haunting music or haunting memories.
Yeah.
By that definition, yes, a haunting is real, because you can be haunted by something that has happened to you in your past, or haunted by a memory. That by that definition, yes, absolutely, you can be haunted.
I agree. I mean, Kay just wrote.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but a lot of people have such a broad interpretation of just that one word when it encompasses so many things.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of times we'll say, you know, you have activity going on in your home. But as soon as you tell somebody that their home or their residence or their business is haunted, I personally think that you've created a fear, and because people say, "Hey, I'm haunted." Oh my God, I'm haunted. But
Yeah.
if we leave them with the thought that, you have activity happening in your home, it broadens the ability to hopefully uh, offer an explanation of that activity in a way that negates the fear, worry, and concern around the word haunted,
Hmm.
right? I mean,
There's a stigma with the word.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I think that a lot of paranormal groups, if they use the word haunted all the time, it's more like uh, I don't think it's the right thing to do. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Uh, I think that if you offer them that word, you better be prepared to back it up. Where you, if you offer activity, it's a less um, what's the word I'm looking for?
But yeah, it's just a word like when you say that you are having activity, it's something that you can kind of relate to. It's something you can kind of understand a bit more because haunting is a scary word.
Yes, yes,
It's obviously glamorized because of Hollywood and TV. Um, it's not fully understood. Whereas if you say uh, haunted seems more like a personal attack, yeah, it does, especially when you feel like it's only coming at you and no one else.
yeah,
But if you say activity, it's a little bit more accepting word, but even then, because of things like you say paranormal activity, and then it kind of goes, well, you mean a haunting, right? It's just it kind of goes hand in hand. You have to be so selective on the words that you choose because you don't want to frighten people when you say you have something possibly happening. I always say happening. What do they always they go? What do you mean happening? It's
well,
like, well, I mean, you have things going on, and it's our job to try to find who, what, where, when, how, why.
yeah, and it actually breaks down into down into a series of 4 or 5 other separate areas that are all really kind of tied together into that haunting or haunted word, if I am correct.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the first one really comes into something that is probably one of the most common that I think that we run into almost all the time. I think a lot of groups run into this probably more, or at least parts of this, more often than not, right across the board. That being residual.
Residual, yeah,
Yeah.
residual.
So, did you have time to look up residual?
Well, I mean, it can be best compared to a video image being played over and over, often associated with an anniversary of an event and non interactive with the environment around it, may be audible or visual in nature, may not be audible or visual in nature. You may hear something, not see something, may see something, not hear something.
True.
Um, it's kind of like something played on a loop, like on a tape, right? Leftovers.
Well,
Not the kind
leftovers.
from dinner. I mean,
I love that.
if you have
Leftovers.
a
I love that.
residual dinner ghost, that's a problem probably.
Ooh, residual turkey.
Roast beef.
Oh dear. Oh God. Roast turkey, roast beef. Oh my Lord.
Cranberry
Don't,
sauce.
don't chase the ham. Um, oh, wait a minute. Didn't Amy say she smelled ham? I do believe that was.
She could be onto something. Maybe there are actual ghosts of pork chops floating around out there. I don't know. Maybe. Amy, if you do that, sense that again or think that again, go with it.
Well, as Kay said, I was about to mention. with a residual, folks, for those of you that either listen in later, because most people listening in now do know. Yeah, she goes, I did smell ham, and then you said you were thinking about it. That's true. I was thinking about ham, and she did smell ham. Maybe it was, emanating from me. I don't know. We're eating spiral ham right now. As Kay said, to go back, it's residual is not something you would interact with. It's not something you'll get a response from. It happens whether you're there or not. Exactly as Mike had said earlier. It's just you're gonna. The only time that you really see it is you just happen to be in the right place at the right time to see the event take place.
Yeah.
And it would have happened whether you were there or not.
Exactly.
That's the thing about residual. Can it be audible or smellable, as you want to say? It's a smell. What is that called? It's called. You can say an audible. You can hear an audible. I guess you can smell a smellable.
Yeah, no, it's not smellable, but oh my god, I don't want to use Google to find out what this is. Like seriously, because it's gonna be my Google search history.
I know the word you're thinking about.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Well, that's tasteable. It's an all thing. Oh my lord! But anyway.
I'm just waiting for the comments. I mean, Kay, come on, help us out here.
Well, she's typing it up, but I know what you're talking about. But it is you know what I'm saying. But the whole thing is that you can either smell it. Sometimes you can smell it. A phantasmia, a phantasm. Holy Christ, Amy! You had to pick a harder word for me to say, didn't you? A phantasmia, phantoms. Oh my god, I can't even say that word for Christ's sake.
We're just gonna go with phantosmia.
No, there we go. A phantosmia. Okay. Well, wouldn't that be like a phantom toe?
Oh, this is where why does it always the train's going down the tracks just fine, all of a sudden it just goes.
Well, we have to have it run somewhere, right? But phantom smells, phantom sounds, you're going to get that with a residual haunting. My question is I mean, would a residual haunting encompass a tap turning on and off?
Maybe perhaps if you heard the tap turning on and off, but it actually didn't. I think when you physically see the tap turning on and off, that's a next level kind of thing, which is another type of haunting.
Well, that is true too. And Amy just said phantosmia. If it was done in its what? Hang on.
I'm going on my yeah. If it was done in its time and it was the original tap, yeah. I mean, again, if it's the actual tap turning on, and if it's the original tap, like say it's 100-year-old tap, and it actually turns on, that could be two types of hauntings.
That's true. That could be both intelligent and.
It could be intelligent. It could be residual. It could be a poltergeist.
Well, that's true. Okay, so
it could be three different kinds.
So let's move on from.
Moving on.
Let's move on from the residual. We know that the residual is something that, although it can be scary to witness it, it can be scary to encounter it if you don't understand it. But is it harmful? No.
No.
Right.
Because from our perspective, it doesn't know that we're even there.
That's right. Exactly. But then we move on to the next one. So what's on your list?
The next one is Basically, it's a term that is not ever used to describe yourself or me.
Okay, you're jumping up to something. I'm just not sure. I have a gut feeling I know what you're going to say, but okay, go ahead.
Intelligent.
Well, Christ, we're that's it. I'll see you later, guys. We're going to sign off from here right now. Um, well, that's not the one I was going for, but okay, we can do that. A matter of fact, I don't even know if I had intelligent written up here. Holy crap, I'm really behind the game here. Yeah, intelligent haunting. I don't actually have the Wikipedia termination for it, but
Okay, so often trying to get attention, seemingly aware of their current environment. They will attempt communication via noise making, electronic devices, etc. May manifest a physical appearance, vocally responsive in EVP, or other spirit communication methods.
so basically a smart ass ghost.
Yeah, one that knows you're there, chooses to communicate with you in some form, some fashion, whether it's talking, making noise, singing, swearing at you, farting, burping, whatever it decides to do.
I can see that now. Could you make a sound? What the hell was that?
That was Phantosmia.
Then you're stuck between whether it's an intelligent or a residual, or did the intelligent create a residual? There you go. Oh my God, folks. You can go a lot of different places with this one, I can tell you. We've had those, the ones that like to touch you. Well, yes, we have had those. Yes, we know. Okay, we know we weren't going to go there. Well, actually, we are. We're just not going to go directly to that particular touch.
You mean the pickle tickle?
I wasn't going to go there.
It's my claim to fame.
That is true.
I'm gonna get a T-shirt with that made on it. I'm just gonna.
I have been pickle tickled.
I've been pickle tickled.
Actually, Amy said this type of haunting has intelligence and consciousness associated with it, and yes, Amy, you're right, it does. I would dare to say in our time, have we actually had dealt with intelligent hauntings? Yes. I mean, we've had intelligent answers in our EVP.
Yes.
We have had intelligent knock responses and stuff like that. So, we have dealt with that. It is probably the second most common thing that you're going to run into. Is an intelligent haunting necessarily scary? No.
Depends on the. I wouldn't say no with no absolution. I mean,
no.
There's circumstances where it can be scary.
Oh, I can be absolutely sure that at certain circumstances it can be scary. Mm-hmm. But it's something that we strive for. It's something we look for. It's something we try to actually happen, right? Intelligence, they will interact with you. They will actually tell you. They will actually say, hey, I'm here, check me out, right? But then it can get a lot worse than intelligent. We ask, like Kay said, we do ask them to interact with us all the time. Most of our stuff is, rather, I mean, it's fun. It's not really scary. It's not. I mean, we've run into stuff that can be rather concerning, but is it really scary? For the most part, I don't think we've run into too much stuff like that. But we have run into stuff that will interact and say, "Hey, we've been told where to go and how to get there." So,
yeah, we have.
Is it because it was because it was a mean or nasty? No, maybe not. Maybe, I don't know. It was more the fact that maybe we pushed it just a little too far.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like any living person. There are, if put yourself into ghost shoes,
So,
and if someone like you're sitting there and you're like, you're in the afterlife and you're like, well, damn, like, what am I going to do today? And then these people show up and they want to talk to you. And it's like we're there for like 4 or 5 hours. It's like an interrogation.
yes, it is. I'll be right back, folks. Hang on.
Oh, Daryl's leaving us.
Well, I'm not leaving for long.
Should I draw anything else while he's away?
No, somebody turned up the heat, sweating. And it wasn't me. Whew. You know, it's hot when you're like sitting there going, holy crap, why am I sweating, man? Too much paint. I think that I think intelligence is what we want and hope for almost all the time when we're at investigations.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, whether you set boundaries and stuff and cautious, that's up to you, really. I mean, that's a discussion that kind of is in here and kind of not. I mean, um, as paranormal investigators, and I think I've said this before, if you're setting up boundaries during an investigation as to what you, yeah, Karen Hot Flash, as to what you want to accept or are willing to accept, and you're negating some of the possibilities of what you might get, right? Or at least that's my thought. So in an investigation, you really want to be as open as you can possibly be to try and get the facts and evidence to back up those facts. And if you can, then great. But there are times that you do have to set up a boundary once you've experienced something. You have to go, okay, that was a little over the top. We might want to negate that a little bit. I've had it happen. Right?
Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
seen the results of that.
Yeah.
So it can happen. So I guess with you, when you're dealing with intelligent hauntings, you just have to be, on an even keel with it and try to do your best to find that information that you're looking for.
Yeah. It's everybody approaches it so differently too, right? Like, I mean, I try to approach if I know I'm going to be talking to an intelligent haunting spirit, whatever you want to call it. I try to talk to it like I would talk to you, like I talk to anyone else, right? Just treat it with respect and dignity and all that.
Yeah.
I try to stay away from the interrogation aspect because it just can. I can understand if you don't want to answer questions after a couple hours. It's like, no, I'm done.
I can understand that, but sometimes I do push the boundaries a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, as Kay said, she disagrees because boundaries can be set, as far as touching people respectfully and stuff. You can ask that ahead of time, but you're still allowing that option to exist.
Yeah. And yes, Kay says, poor Amy and Mike were touched inappropriately. Yes, we were. I have to admit, it's not. If I'm referring to my experience this past summer, I didn't set that boundary out. I didn't go in there and say, "Don't touch me," in this area.
That's true.
But how many investigations have I done that? I don't feel it's necessary to do that. But at the same time, if you are welcoming someone or something to touch you, you should say where, right? Like you can touch me on my hand or you can touch me on my shoulder, but nowhere else. Maybe that's something that needs to be implemented going forward because both Amy and I have been touched in places we'd rather not be touched again.
Oh yes, I remember the. Okay, so hold on here though. I remember the infamous nipple twist. Right? I'm sorry, Amy, but I do. And yet, when we were down in that exact same location, Amy, where that happened, I had 3 other women standing there, and I said, "Do you mind if I throw this option out?" And they all went, "Yeah, okay, we're good." And I said, "You know what? You got 6 of them. Go ahead, twist away." And it never happened again. But I did ask, so the boundary was set, but I did ask before it was set. So I mean, the simple fact is, if people are willing to have that that option to say, hey, it happened once, do it again, then absolutely I'm going to push that to the point of saying, hey, it's here. But if people say no, then you just don't. I think that's that simple.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And I mean, what's to say that the spirit that's there only did it because it's being a horse's ass and a goof and a prankster? But then you say you have permission to do it, and then they're like, no, I don't want to do it if I have permission to do it. I
Well,
only
where's the
did it
fun
because
in
I wanted to be a pecker. Like, like
that? Exactly. Now, there was something here. Karen said,
I often wonder if the said intelligent spirit can actually hear all of what we ask them. Maybe they can only hear certain words or sentences. Well, that's true, Karen. I mean, what if I said, don't touch me here, but they only heard touch me here. And they didn't hear the don't.
that is true, or they just heard touch.
Or that, or they only say, yeah, they only heard touch. And
Well,
they're going, okay.
some spirits do hear. I think, like, I mean, look at it this way: if we're talking that spirits are human based, and this is about to change in the very next topic, but if they're human based of what we're dealing with, then just like we now, I mean, men hear completely different than women. We know that, right? If that transcends into the afterlife, well, then why wouldn't certain people, not necessarily hear a total of what's being said? I mean, if they're older, maybe that hearing problem still exists.
Yeah,
So
I
they're
mean,
actually hearing a
if there's
well-pronounced letter.
if someone passes away and they have a hearing aid, does the hearing aid go with them?
Maybe that's why they drain our batteries.
Touche. I can't argue that one. I can't argue that one.
Holly says, enough with the pickle, time to bury or enough with the pickle, time to bury the pickle.
I agree, Holly. I agree. It's time to put it in the past. I'm going to put it in the jar and save it for another day.
Just make sure it's pickled.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so what is the next one? Because I can I move it forward onto this one? Because
yeah, go for
it may not be the same one you have listed up.
I got listed. Yeah, go for it.
But one of the next ones, and this is where it starts to twist a little bit. One of the next ones is poltergeist, not poultrygeist, poltergeist.
Poltergeist.
Now, poltergeist, otherwise known as noisy spirits, right, are a type of haunting that individuals all throughout history have claimed to experience. It's important to note that no two poltergeist spirits are the same. These spirits are able to completely manipulate the environment that they frequent in a physical manner. So, when people say, hey, you know what, I walked out of my kitchen, I walked back in my kitchen, and all the chairs were standing up, like, like from the movie Poltergeist, or chairs are being moved, things are being thrown off shelves and stuff like that. That is poltergeist. That is poltergeist activity. Now, that corresponds very highly, or connects very, very highly with the intelligent, because if you're going to piss something off, they're going to get mad and they're going to throw something or touch something or hit something or whatever.
Yeah.
Are they necessarily meaner or scarier?
I would say they're scarier because there's things that are happening that are probably quite unexpected. Meaner, it probably depends on what's happening, right? Like if you're having a glass thrown at your head, that's scary. That's probably pretty aggressive. That's mean. Yeah, like that. Right. But if you have a paper airplane thrown at you, maybe not so aggressive and scary. It's still weird.
Well, if it's a pointy one, it could, hitching, me.
Or a sock being thrown across the room and no one did it. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, I agree. I think a poltergeist really depends on, on the degree of activity and what kind of activity it is. I 100% agree with what you just said. You know, it can be scary, I guess, but is it I really don't know if it's like, is it a specific, is it a different entity than a living human being is what I'm getting at. Is it something other than somebody that passed on that's just irritatedly pissed off?
I don't know.
Well, here's what Kate said.
Yeah, and I was actually just reading that comment. I firmly believe poltergeist activity is brought on by a person, usually the adolescent, the menopausal woman, or someone going through trauma. I don't believe it is a separate entity. Yeah, I mean, there's different theories about it, and who's to say anyone's right or wrong about what a poltergeist truly is? A lot of people just think of the movie, and you know, the movie was what the movie was, but it kind of had both in it. It had a angry old spirit that was on a mission, basically, but it also had the adolescent girl, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of encompassed both, and I guess it kind of left it open to which one brought it on. Really, it was targeting the girl. So I don't know. Was it brought on by the girl though?
I don't know. Was it attracted? I mean, when people say, a lot of people say that a lot of these things are accompanied by children that are going through adolescence and stuff like that, puberty, all that kind of stuff. Is that actual fact? Don't know.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like there's so many millions of adolescent children out there, or menopausal women, or whatever, and I'm sure they don't experience anything. Like, yeah. My daughter's a preteen, right? Like, I don't think there's anything in my house. If there is, I don't think it's being brought on by her.
But could said things, people that are going through these changes and all that kind of stuff, plus whatever trauma could happen in certain households and does happen in certain households, allow these, and we've discussed the fact that spirits could be always walking around, but they just don't really, you don't really see them or know them because they're not usually attracted to you unless there's a specific reason to be drawn to you. And maybe that's where that happens. And then they take on that energy and that form and that frustration or everything else that might be building up, right? So you don't necessarily, if it's really good, positive energy, there's like, well, okay, yeah, let me move on. But as negative, because negative is really strong, maybe that's what causes it.
Yeah, I mean, the negative ones, maybe there's a ghost of a serial killer walking down your street and all of a sudden looks over at your house and goes, that looks like a good one.
Oh, that's just disturbing, Mike. Thank you very much.
I'm just saying. It's like, yeah, let's go with these people. Yeah.
Well, if you have poltergeist activity, I mean, honestly, if you know anybody that does have it, give us a call, man. I mean, I want to play catch. I do. I mean, I don't want to play catch.
I got a glove.
I mean, here you are. It's like, whoa, what's that? Oh, it's a football. It's a baseball. It's a bat. It's a, oh God, duck.
It's like,
so
thanks.
Exactly.
I could use one of these.
All right, folks. So what's the next one?
I'm going to go with the good old shadow figure.
The shadow figure. All right. Well, tell us a little bit about the shadow figure.
Debatedly classified as a type of ghost, they often reside in haunted locations. Considered by some to be interdimensional beings or demons. Often seen at night in doorways, at the foot of beds, and lurking around corners. So are teenage children, for that matter. To be honest, I think my daughter's a shadow figure.
Okay, so I've had my experience with a shadow figure.
You have. You've shared
And
it.
it was,
You've shared it, but go
it
ahead.
was, yeah, well, most everybody here knows it. It was it's one of the few times it wasn't scary in the fact that, oh my God, it's a shadow figure. That came later. It was more the fact that when I first saw it, it was like, who the hell's standing in my room in front of my window that I can't see the face of? Because it's more that you're in my home, you're in my space, dude. You're about to get an ass whooping, right? But at the same time, normally if you're facing somebody, things are running through your head. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Right? With this one, it wasn't like, what am I going to do? It was like, it was like a real basic fear that I can't see what this thing is, and it's not moving, it's just standing there.
Yeah.
And it creates, you're stuck. You're stuck. You're stuck dead in your foot, in your stance. You're stuck. And the only reason it disappeared was because I turned my head to look to see if my wife was in bed. I looked back and it was gone. Now it happened again later to the wife, where she actually saw it. She actually got up out of bed, went to the can, came back again. It was still there. And only when she reached over to touch me to find out I was in bed, not standing by the window, did she realize something was really screwed up.
Yeah.
I was asleep. She was not. She basically covers up over her head. But again, she reached a point. It wasn't because, oh my God, I'm frightened. Part of that is, but it was also she couldn't talk. She couldn't get the scream out to say, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
That's the effect that I have heard time and time again when people encounter shadow figures.
I have I've never shared it before, but I have a similar, not really similar story. It was again in the bedroom, um, where there was I would wake up and it wasn't sleep paralysis, but I would wake up because I knew I was awake, but there would be this all I could describe as a shadow figure standing at the end of the bed, but I wasn't afraid of it, right? I felt almost like a genuine curiosity coming from it, if
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I told my wife about it, and she's like, "Okay, like what gives?" And I said, "Well, after a couple of times of this happening, because it happened more than once, I'm going to say probably about 4 times this happened, and this was over like a month. And the last time it happened, I felt like, and you know this, and others that are watching this probably know this. I'm adopted. I genuinely felt it was my adopted mother. She has passed away many years ago now, but I felt it was her. And then at the very end, she lifted the cloak. She was no longer a shadow figure,
Oh,
and it was
wow.
it was confirmation that it was her. So I told my wife about it, and I said it was my birth mom, and I said, "Thanks for visiting me, but don't come back." And she's never returned.
That's wild.
But before that, it was always a shadowed, cloaked figure.
Wow. Wow. That's actually, I mean, that's really, it's a real pleasant thing to have
Yeah.
happen, but at the same time, it's rather creepy.
It is. It's cool. It's creepy. It's a lot of things, but it's also like, was I truly awake? Was I truly seeing what I saw? Was it just my
Yeah.
imagination?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing that I can back that up with.
Interesting. Well, I know that some of the people I've talked to that have experienced shadow figures, almost every one of them has said to me, I couldn't move.
Yeah.
I wanted to, I couldn't move. I could blink. And a lot of them could turn their head after a little bit, like they'd managed to turn their head a little bit or avert their eyes and look back and it was gone. But everybody so far, and you're the first person that didn't, at least, but that wasn't like she showed herself.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that I've heard people tell me about, they just, it ends up not just causing like a fear, but it's a very primal fear. It's a real base. It hits you right at the base, right at the core. And it's disconcerting to say the least. So where would we classify these things? I mean, I would classify the one I saw as not, it was neither evil or malevolent or good. It was there, but what it promoted in me because of what I felt, I would classify it as being more negative in nature.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It sounds to me like that shadow figure was also an intelligent figure, right? Because it knew what it was doing.
Well,
It
I
had,
guess.
I would assume it knew what it was doing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't assume anything because we all know what assume means.
Well, and then there's this one.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's it
The fact that they always watch you though, like they don't.
that's it. It's like it yes.
It's just like someone just sitting there like this, like, but you can't see their face, right? Like,
There's no eyes, it's just like it's like it's like a deeper black. Well, yeah, not quite that, but it's a deeper, darker black than anything else, and it's looking right into you, and that's why I would dare to say shadow figures. Well, let me read this. This is what it said on my end. It said most researchers suspect, however, that shadow people, if they are real, if they are really there, are a manifestation of a ghost or haunting. If it is a residual haunting or a non-intelligent recording on the environment, one way to possibly get rid of it is to alter the environment in some way. It is important to note that residual hauntings are harmless. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that when it comes to shadow figures. I just don't agree with that.
Could it be dangerous? I don't know. I
I
mean,
I don't know if it can be dangerous in itself, but I do believe it can be dangerous because it can cause that primal fear and that fight or flight. And if you run, you take a chance of getting hurt.
yeah,
Right. So that's where I think I stand with the. I think that's my last stance on the shadow figures. I think.
yeah, they are scary to a point. I mean, especially if you're not expecting it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Um. There's two more. Did you know that?
There's two more, and we have less than 10 minutes to go.
That's all right.
But
We can go.
but
We
the
can go over.
last two, the last two are one of them. I just you know how I feel about them. I think you feel the same way about them. So we'll leave that one to the very end, I think. One of them I don't have a lot of experience with, to be quite honest with you. It's elemental.
Oh, you're going with the elemental. Well, then there
Yeah,
was two more.
yeah, I have elemental.
Okay. Elemental.
Nature-based entities known for their territorial behavior, overly protective and situationally dangerous. Some have been known to have nefarious intentions, being intentionally deceitful and hateful towards humans.
Yeah, you see them on TV, elves, sprites, water elementals, earth elemental, fire elementals. Um, I've never, yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I don't have any experience with them that I'm aware of.
Yeah,
Do I think they might exist? Possibly. I mean, it's a possibility, I guess, and maybe some people can interact with these elementals. I don't know. Um, I mean, it would make sense because Mother Earth is alive, so I don't know, but I think it would be. I mean, I don't think that if you stood in a bush and yelled at a tree that you're going to have something thrown at you unless the bird's angry over your head. But that's kind of my interpretation of it now. But I just don't understand enough about it. And
No, it's
that's
not
why.
something that we deal with on a regular basis.
No,
Absolutely not.
no.
Some people like they swear by it. Like there's gnomes and imps and whatever else in their gardens, and they're not the actual little statues.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah, and the little wood fairies. Yeah, no, I've seen
yeah,
pictures of them.
in my years of doing you've been doing it longer than I have, but in my years, I've never even heard of anyone complain about that. So
No, I haven't. I have not. You're right. I have not.
and it could maybe due to a lack of education and knowledge. It could be due to a lack of people are kind of going, well, I kind of draw the line at that.
Well, I kind of put it. I kind of put maybe a little more faith into those than I do. I won't say it. I just won't say it. Or Kay would kill me. I just, yeah, it's just something that you're right. It could be lack of knowledge.
Yep.
But that's kind of where I stand as far as elementals go. Now I
Yep.
know that you were saving this one for last, but there's one other one I want to bring up, and because I do have an experience, so we're going to go a little bit over, folks here. The one I'm talking about, and they don't. It's vague, but it's called doppelgangers, and a doppelganger, in a nutshell. Okay, I'm just going to read this to you. It's a non-biological related look-alike or double of a living person, sometimes portrayed as a ghostly phenomenon. Okay. Now, I've never personally experienced a doppelganger. The myth behind it is if somebody sees their own doppelganger, it's a precursor to their death. Okay, that's one of the big things with doppelgangers. Doppelgangers are not they're not human. They were never alive. But something creates them.
Doppelganger.
Oh my god. But they were unique. Now I ran into a lady, and I know her. I've known her for years. She went to, and if I do remember, it's that one very popular haunted asylum down in the United States that everybody goes to. Oh Christ, I can't even think of it now. There was
I don't know why, but Penhurst is coming to mind. Is
no,
that?
it's not. It wasn't Penhurst. It's up closer to Canada. It's not Penhurst. But anyway,
And now Arkham Asylum is coming in my head, and that's Batman. So
that's Batman. No, Kay knows it. There was problems with the owners. And
Waverly,
stuff like
Waverly.
Waverly. Okay, so she went to Waverly. She went to Waverly Hills. And she was I guess coming up the stairs, and she turned into the hallway, and she saw herself down the hall. Now she's still alive today, but she saw herself down the hall. It left, it went into a room. They ran down the room, of course, to see, and it was gone. Right now, she said, and the other person that saw it said it looked identical to her. Now this lady, although she didn't die, she did survive a bout with cancer not that long ago. So was this a precursor to her going through that? That's a question. I don't know. That being said, some people do have an identical non-related twin. Well, that is true, Holly. But this is not. This is a twin. That's a twin. That's living. This is not living. This was never human. The doppelgangers are not human. They were never born. They were never raised. Right? They take on a form of somebody deliberately, and they do it deliberately to cause problems. Um, but it is something that you don't. If you do ever run into it, you don't want to run into it. It's just not a nice thing to have happen, apparently. And if you do ever see it, keep in mind that it does have a note to it that a lot of people say it is a precursor to certain events.
The only thing I can relate to that, Daryl, is having a voice doppelganger. So a voice that sounds exactly the same as someone else that's living, but not necessarily appearing as someone else that's living.
That's right. And we you're right. And we've all had that happen. We've had our voices copied.
And Kay just mentioned that too. Yeah, like Amy has a great EVP from Yale Historic Site where her voice said something into her voice recorder, but she was in a different room with me.
Yeah.
So it's not possible for her voice to be on that voice recorder.
Well, it's like Kay just said.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's not a recording of yourself, but it's not you. Now, I've never had it where it was my own voice. Like I'm listening to my voice recorder. I know I left it somewhere else and it's my voice on there. I've not had that, but I've had it where it's my voice heard on someone else's recorder. And I've also heard other people's voices on my recorder when it was nowhere near them.
Yeah, I've had that experience too. And it is rather creepy.
It is creepy. And the fact that there is possibly a spirit out there that could do that.
Yeah.
Why? How? Like, so many more questions come up.
Well, that leads into a discussion we've had before, which we will have again, as to whether past, present, future are all happening simultaneously. So maybe you're not actually hearing a ghost. Maybe you are actually hearing yourself. It's just not yet done.
Yeah, and as Amy clarified, that EVP caught at the Yale Historic Site. Not only was it Amy's voice, it was Amy's voice saying my name.
Yeah.
So it was an intelligent spirit.
It's pretty bizarre, isn't it?
Absolutely bizarre.
Yeah. So it's mimics and doppelgangers. Now, doppelgangers can be downright evil. They even state that. But mimics, I guess they can be problematic. I mean, but I've never had one, try to mimic me and give a bad message to somebody else. I mean, a word, a note, something, but not necessarily a bad message. So I don't know, but I'm really not sure how they do that. I don't know,
or why. It would be great to know why.
Exactly. So, guys, we're getting down to the end of the show, and we got to touch on this last one. We really do. Yeah, Mike.
Are we talking about orbs? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my Lord!
I had to. I'm sorry, Kay. I had to do it. I had to do it.
Kay showed me a video from Christmas that they were throwing an orb around the room. It looked really cool too as a toy.
Yeah, she showed me too. That's
an orb we got to take to a friggin' investigation and film it.
Yeah. No kidding. No kidding. Oh my God, that would be amazing. No, the very last one that is up to so much debate, and it's awful because one of my formerly favorite TV shows insists that everything is based on this. Demonic. I don't even need to say what it means because I think everybody knows what it means.
Well, how about I read this? A demonic haunting is when a demon or evil spirit has taken up camp in your home, place, or business and has begun attaching to you or others. When demonic hauntings first begin, the signs are subtle, and may mimic those of your average run-of-the-mill ghost if you notice anything at all. That's basically in a nutshell.
And human possession.
And human possession, which we have talked about. And there are known cases of possession. There are known cases out there in the world. You can read them up online, check them out. I can't remember the fella's name, but there's one that's one of the most popular things, and it was actually what the Exorcist was based off of. It's a real life story. So, does it really happen? Do demonic entities exist? Okay. from my point of view, I'm going to say probably. Okay. I can't say they don't, because for everything that's good, there's always a yin and a yang. If there's good, there's bad. If there's extreme holy, there's evil. There's got to be a balance, or everything would be out of balance. That's my thought. Okay.
There's the light side and the dark side of the force.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. And your little dog Toto too. Anyway, but I mean, I think that it, when people, and this is what bothers me, when people go into places and they say, "Oh, it's demonic, 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 demonic," we don't have to tell you who. Everybody knows. It's just like, yeah, give me a break.
Yeah.
I know it's just not a really peeved off spirit that keeps going, "Will people stop telling me I'm a friggin' demon?" Like, I mean, in all the years I've been into it, I've never run into one. And now here's what really bites my ass. When people say, "I can come clear your home of this demonic entity." Really? And what clergy are you with? I mean, when it's an average person saying, like an investigator going, "Oh, I can clear your home of this demon," my thought is, okay, if something has been on this earth or around this earth for thousands of years, not just a few hundred, thousands of years, because they're ageless, what makes anybody that lives 100 years think they're even remotely capable of handling this thing, other than probably an ordained priest?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, if it's demonic, I'm out the door.
Yeah,
if it proves to be that bad.
And I'm in the car with the engine running already.
You can see the film clip now. Open the door! Open the door!
Start the car!
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah. That's what I got to say about that, man. Like, I mean, Kay said, "Never experienced anything demonic. Bad temper, yes, but not demonic, because I don't want to get into religion, but demonic stuff gets thrown about because of religion." Karen agreed. So, my last stance on demonic, if I ever run into it, oh, Holly's like, "What's that growing out of Daryl's head?" It's dried wheat. Like, no.
Daryl's got a pot plant growing out of his head.
Any last words on demonic there, Mike?
Nope.
All right. On that note, folks, there is your 6 or 7 types of hauntings. We had a great time tonight. This is the first show of the new year, so you can expect a lot more coming your way. And in some upcoming show, and I'm not sure exactly which one it's going to be yet, but folks, we are going to have a very, very special guest. That's all I'm going to tell you. And I can tell you, most of the people on my team know who it is, but I'm not going to say that. I'm just terrible, ain't I, Mike? But no, we are going to have a really interesting special guest. They've already agreed to come on board. It's just a matter of, we're going to pick a date and see when they're available. But it's going to be one hell of a show, and we are definitely going to go overtime with that show, I can tell you right now. And it's going to be a lot of fun and a very, very interesting, let me tell you. So on that note, folks, for myself, Daryl,
and me,
we want to wish you guys all the best. Thank you very much for joining us on Off the Cuff Paranormal, and we'll see you later. Stay away from the demons.
Okay.
And that guy, yes. Good night, folks.
Good night, everybody.